Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing well today. In this video, we're going to be talking about another DeFi protocol. I genuinely feel like this protocol has a lot of potential and could possibly end up being a core DeFi primitive that other projects build on top of. 88 Mph is not only going to allow users to earn a fixed rate, but for the first time using floating bond rates, individual investors will be able to leverage long interest rates. If that sounds a little bit confusing, don't worry, I'm going to explain it all in this video. And after watching this video, if you have any questions, concerns, or you had some ideas you wanted to discuss with like-minded individuals, then I welcome you guys to join my Discord channel. I got a great group of crypto investors in there, many of who have taken up a keen interest in the whole DeFi ecosystem. And if Discord isn't your thing, then I'd suggest you guys follow me on Twitter if you want to learn about projects ahead of time. Both the link to my Discord channel and my Twitter profile can be found in the description box below. With the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this video review. First and foremost, I wanted to say that the team behind the project has built outstanding projects in the past, and that had a lot to do with me deciding to participate in this yield mining opportunity. The rewards have been substantially cut since they first started on November 16th, but they've extended the opportunity a few times with the rewards significantly reduced. So you can actually provide liquidity to this pool. Come here to the 88 Mph app, stake your LP tokens into this protocol, and in return for providing their pool liquidity, you'll be eligible to earn Mph tokens on this platform. And if you're concerned about security, they've been audited by QuantStamp, and their liquidity mining and staking contracts were forked from Synthetics, which hasn't had any problems to date. Moreover, a third party called DeFi Yield Squad has done their own independent smart contract security analysis, and they've given them a low risk level scoring. Now let's talk about exactly what kind of services are going to be offered to their users. Users will be able to put stable coins into DeFi yield protocols such as Compound, Aave, Voyager, and I'm sure they're going to support many more in the future. You're going to get a fixed rate APY that's determined by the floating rate exponential moving average pulled from these protocols. You will get 75% of the current EMA. And you might be asking yourself, why would I want to get 75% when I could get 100% by depositing my funds directly into one of these protocols myself? Well, unlike these other protocols, 88 Mph is going to guarantee you that yield for whatever term that you pick. For example, let's say the yield on Aave is 10% on USDC, and Mph is going to give you a 7.5%. You could deposit your funds into Mph, lock it for a year, and you're guaranteed to earn that 7.5%. Meanwhile, that rate on Aave could be 10% one day, 5% another day. And on top of that, when you deposit your funds into this protocol, you're going to be given an ERC 721 non-fungible token. This way, you'll be able to access your locked liquidity. And on top of that, not only are you going to be earning interest rate in your respective stablecoin, but you'll also be earning an API paid to you in Mph tokens. And that's actually another incentive for you guys to lock in your funds for a prolonged period of time, because these rates that you're seeing here for the Mph, they're likely to start off big and then progressively decrease as they attract more liquidity into the protocol. So if you deposit now and lock it in for a year, you can get rates up to 57%. But the catch is, when you withdraw, you need to return 90% of the Mph tokens received at the time of deposit. And all the tokens that you give back, they go into the governance treasury, and the community will decide how to spend those funds. And while you have Mph tokens, whether you got them from depositing your funds into the protocol, maybe you got them to the liquidity mining program, or maybe you just bought them off the market, 100% of the revenue generated in the protocol goes to Mph stakers. So for example, there's a 10% protocol fee that's deducted from the interest when a depositor withdraws. Also, there's sometimes a yield farm tokens earned from the protocols that are connected to 88 Mph. All of these rewards are converted to DAI and they're given to Mph stakers. For example, recently they distributed $2,400 worth of DAI tokens to all Mph stakers. Moving along, now let's talk about floating rate bonds. The main purpose of floating rate bonds are to cover and secure a potential debt of the protocol. So let's say Kevin committed 100 tokens for a fixed rate of 5%. And after this year has elapsed, Kevin would be able to withdraw 105 tokens. But there's a chance that the rate might drop below the 75% EMA. And if it drops for a prolonged period of time, Kevin might end up not getting the 5% that he was entitled to. 88 Mph aims to solve this in two ways. Number one, they're going to pool all deposits. This way, new funds would be able to balance out the debt caused by deposits where the floating rate has dropped since the time of deposit. Another way to solve this is by allowing Chad to purchase a floating rate bond that fills up a debt of 5 tokens caused by Kevin's 1-year deposit of 100 tokens. All Chad has to do is buy a bond worth 5 tokens and he'll earn a floating interest rate on all 105 tokens until Kevin withdraws his assets. And because the fixed rate Mph offers is 75% of the initial floating rate, Chad will be in profit as long as the floating rate doesn't drop below more than 25%. And his profit increases when the floating rate does. So in other words, as long as the floating rate doesn't drop below 5%, Chad is going to be in profit. And remember, he's not depositing 105 tokens, he's only depositing 5 tokens, but he'll be earning a floating rate interest on all 105 tokens. And this is what I meant by that you're effectively longing the float rate. Now let's transition over to talking about tokenomics. The total supply isn't fixed, they can issue new tokens, but since they're decentralizing governance, ultimately the community will have to decide where the new Mph rewards are going to come from, because they're going to use these tokens to incentivize the lenders to deposit their funds in the fixed rate APY pools. And these Mph tokens that are distributed to these pools, there's only 2 places where they can come from, either by new issuance or from the governance treasury. And I'm personally open to this model because it'll give them more flexibility, more pivotability when it comes to stimulating total value lock growth. If they create a successful protocol or product, and by properly aligning the incentives for Mph token holders, they'll essentially have a printing press they could leverage to further grow the TVL. And since most of the tokens that are newly issued end up in the treasury, they can issue new tokens to stimulate growth without diluting early adopters. As I mentioned earlier, anybody who deposits stable coins into the protocol, they're going to be given Mph tokens. 90% will be given back to the treasury when they redeem their original deposit. But while they're waiting for the deposit to mature, they can stake their Mph tokens and earn a share of the protocol fees and the yield farming rewards. And eventually they'll also issue rewards to bond buyers, but for the time being, they don't have any plans to give both buyers and depositors Mph reward bonuses. We've already talked about this as well. 100% of the revenues that they make will end up with the community, and all rewards will be converted to DAI and distributed to Mph stakers. And whenever Mph is minted by new deposits, an additional 10% of the minted amount is minted and sent to the developer fund. These Mph will be used to pay for future development and maintenance of the protocol. Now, to end the video, let's talk about structured products, because I think once 88 Mph is able to attract enough liquidity and they get enough traction, someone in the space is going to be able to leverage the composability of DeFi to build structured products on top of 88 Mph. And for those of you guys who don't know what structured products are, it's basically a prepackaged structured financial investment strategy based on a single security, basket of securities, options, etc. For example, one common type of structured product would include a bond, but instead of the fixed rate model return, they'll receive non-traditional payments. So for example, let's say you have a structured product that's a $1,000 CD that expires in 3 years. But instead of the traditional interest payments you would receive, you'll get the yearly interest payment that's based on the performance of the NASDAQ stock index. If the index rises, the investor earns a portion of the gain. If the index falls, the investor still receives their $1,000 back after 3 years. And the DeFi equivalent could be a fixed income instrument like you have with 88 Mph, and the use of a derivative, an options trading protocol like Hedgic.co. In this example, let's say you deposited $1,000 into USDC, and instead of being entitled to the rate that you see here, your return for your $1,000 deposit would be contingent upon the performance of, let's say, Ethereum. Depending on the participation rate that was established, you would get a certain yield if the price of Ethereum went up. But let's say Ethereum doesn't do well or stagnates. In that case, after the 3 years has elapsed, you'll get your $1,000 back. And of course, that's just one example. I'm sure the big brains in DeFi will be able to do a lot more. And if you've watched the video until this point, it's very likely that you're enjoying the content, you're enjoying my insights. If that's the case, you should definitely check out my Patreon page. By becoming one of my patrons, you'll get access to my private Discord channel where you'll be able to engage with me in dialogue and also hear about my fresh insights in real time. If you think you can benefit from a service like that, I encourage you guys to click the link in the description below and check out my Patreon page. With that being said, this is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.